What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another album review and concluding my week of reviews where I'm catching up on stuff I missed while on vacation. I am talking now about the latest offering from Flames, Frequency of Illusion. Also came out on November 7th, this time on Sleazy Rider Records. This is the band's 8th studio full-length overall, for those who don't know. This is a Greek thrash metal band, and I was always aware of them because they were somewhat considered like an early first wave black metal band back in the 80s, or more like black and speed metal. But after like the 80s, they evolved into more of a straight up thrash band, and I became further aware of them on their last album, Resurgence, which was a banger of an album. So I was curious to hear what this band had in store 3 years later. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, man, this year has been the year of thrash. Minus Dark Angel, this has been the year of thrash. Like, thrash has come back alive this year with so many big releases from either big bands or mainstream darlings, or hell, even like underground bands like Flames. I will admit, this is a killer thrash album. Kicking off with the track Hunter. Big riffs, and it's raw and gritty, almost like early Creator, like Endless Pain, Pleasure to Kill, like that era of Creator. It definitely has a lot of that vibe to it, but there's some really cool melody that shows up on here as well on this track, but the vocals are a lot more aggressive sounding before it does go into like a bit more of like a speed metal D-beat gallop. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get the lead work out of the way. Lead work wise, man, it's like a perfect album of thrash metal leads. Like, you get like big Slayer dive bombs, but you also get a lot of like killer shred and even some melody on the shredding. So it's basically like an all-encompassing thrash album in terms of lead work. And going to the vocals, like, there are portions on this album where the vocals kind of feel like they sit in between Kurt Brecht from DRI and James Hetfield from Metallica. Like, there are times where he'll sound a little bit punkier, and then there are times where he'll sound a lot grittier. So he kind of sounds like the middleman between Kurt and Hetfield. More Hetfield than Kurt, I would say. But yeah, like, this album, it is just balls to the wall thrash, but with some cool wrinkles. Like, the track Illusion, this one actually has a bit of a doomy start to it. Like, it's slower, it's lumbering, before it does unleash into like awesome thrashy riffs. But also there's some more melody coming in. Like, actually, good chunk of this album, you get more melodic riffs coming in. Like, I would say in particular on Illusion, but also The Great Deceiver, and hell, even the opening clean melodies on the song The Arsonist has some really cool flair to it. So yeah, it's like they're definitely getting a little bit more melodic, but still remaining pretty heavy. And actually, another big thing that's not very common in thrash metal that they do on here is blast beats. Like, more kind of like that early Sepultura blast beat, like Morbid Visions style blasting. Not really to the point where it's like death metal or necessarily black metal. It's more like a thrash metal blast beat, like, again, early Sepultura or even SOD. It kind of has a little bit of that. But I do love how, and then you would get into tracks like Lightbringer, for example, where you get the thrash machine gun riffs on top of blast beats, which I would say feels closer to like Pleasure to Kill era Creator. Actually, that's a better comparison of the blast beats on here. They're more like that era of Creator where it's just all over the map. But also some pretty cool triplet chugs show up on a few songs like Lightbringer, The Great Deceiver, but also The Arsonist. Awesome triplet chugs that feel very thrash forward with hints of death metal, but not really quite death metal. But yeah, and I also love how a lot of these songs kind of feel like they're touching on different thrash bands or thrash styles. Like, I would say Hunter, very much like akin to early Creator, but also getting a little bit into the speed metal side. Same with Lightbringer, but adding more triplet chug and blast beats on top. The song Thrash and Beer, that's kind of like a speed metal meets crossover song. Like, it's got a little bit of a punky vibe, mainly in the vocals and the lyrics. It's like a party song, but you do get like a really cool, like, traditional thrash metal double time and killer bass line. Actually, quite a few songs like Thrash and Beer, Ornia, and Dressed in Black Sued. Those songs start off with awesome bass work. Like, the bass is definitely a big star of the show on this album. But then going back to like how they'll touch on different thrash band styles, like I would say The Arsonist and Drag You Down, which are back to back, feel a little bit closer to Megadeth, like in the riffing and the rhythms, a little bit more on the side of Megadeth than anything else. And actually, The Arsonist with the clean melodies that opens feels more like an old west vibe, which is actually pretty cool. And it's mostly a mid-tempo track, but it's like a Megadeth mid-tempo track. Whereas Drag You Down is essentially kind of like, I would say like So Far So Good So What, Rust in Peace era type of Megadeth song where it's a little bit more D-beat driven. But then the tracks Ornia and Dress in Black Suit, both of those songs instantly remind me of Metallica and the riffing, like just aggressive, cool downstrokes at times. But I like how in Ornia, like with the bass line that enters into chug and groove, and even some really cool harmonies. Like harmonies on the guitars come in a couple of times, like on Break the Chains as well as Ornia. Awesome guitar harmonies, and actually Break the Chains, maybe the most technical song on the album. Like you get a lumbering groove and then blast beats with more technical guitars before it gets back to feeling very furious and thrashy, but you do get some tremolo riffs. And this was definitely where the vocals I felt sounded the closest to Hetfield for sure, where I heard it the most. But then in the song Epic, kind of feels like a hybrid of Creator and Exodus a little bit. Like you get some awesome riffs, but double time, machine gun riffs, tremolos, and this was the song where I thought the vocals sound more like Kurt from DRI. And then the closer, Dress in Black Suit, like the Metallica thrashiness, kind of feels like it could have been something on And Justice for All a little bit, but man, the riffs just get flat out big on this track. Production-wise, like I said, it's pretty raw, and I actually like the production on this a little bit more than I did on Resurgence. Like, Resurgence kind of felt a little bit compressed, whereas here, it's a little more organic. I wasn't used to the production at first, but as I kept listening to it, I felt like I got better used to it, and it grew on me. As far as any negatives go, I honestly don't have very many at all. Mainly, I guess the only thing I would say is I wish maybe the snare could have been a little bit better. But overall, this is a 4.5. Man, this year for thrash has been... After having some quiet years with thrash, ever since I've come back to reviewing albums on this channel, thrash had been kind of quiet. This year, thrash has really shined. And don't be shocked if you see many thrash albums in the top 10 for Album of the Year. But yeah, check this out if you haven't. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, thank you for watching. Horns high, dreams wet.